Okay. You're good. Hi, Jessica.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm alright.
So what's going on?
Just crazy busy as usual with, school, work, kids, everything.
Yeah, I can understand how that could feel pretty busy.
Yeah. It's very busy, to say the least.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So what can I help you with?
Well, I guess the thing that I have the hardest problem with right now is just sometimes at home, like my husband and my kids knew going into this, I explained that I wasn't going to have a lot of free time, I wasn't going to be able to do everything with them, and it just seems like it's always, will you have more homework? Oh, well, how much longer is that going to take you? And it, not always, sometimes they're really good about it, and my husband's good about keeping the kids occupied while I'm trying to do homework and, focused on other things. But then there's other times when it seems like I can't do enough anywhere to please anybody. And he will make comments like that he comes home and the house is a mess, or my house isn't by any means the cleanest house in the world, but it's not a pigsty. I mean, yeah, I don't get to everything because I, am busy. And he'll come home and be like, well, why didn't you get the dishes done? Or he goes, it's not towards you, it's just him venting, and he's like, I can do it as well as you can, but I don't know, it's just frustrating because it's like, yeah, I'm home before he is, but it's not like I'm sitting at home reading a book for leisure or just hanging out watching TV or whatever. I'm, doing homework and helping kids with homework, and so then by the time he gets home, it's like, oh, you've been home for this long, but this and this and this haven't been done, and it's just really frustrating.
I can feel your frustration. It sounds like you've got a lot going on. It's really nice of him to help out where he can, though.
He does a little bit.
Mm-hmm. What kinds of things does he do to help out?
Generally, most nights he'll clean up after dinner if I have dinner ready and made, and that's like one of my things that I made myself have to do this semester is to sit down and have dinner with my family. So
Great.
I'll work on, making dinner. The kids help me, which is awesome. They're always super excited to be my little chefs. And then, we'll sit down and have dinner together. And then he's always like, just leave it, I'll clean it up, which is awesome. It's so helpful. And then, he'll do laundry occasionally, or he'll start doing laundry, and then, I end up with baskets of clothes that end up wrinkly because they just sit in the basket. But he tries to help there. And like I said, he's good about keeping the kids occupied when he's home, but he works long hours too, and so it's, yeah.
And how have the kids been helping?
Well, they have their set of chores.
Mm-hmm.
But they need more attention to keep them on task.
A little guidance.
Yes. So, they'll do them, but it's like I have to be on top of it. Have you done this? Have you done this?
Mm-hmm.
Is your homework done? Have you done this? Oh, well, okay. When are you going to, get to this? And otherwise it just is out the window, and then it's almost bedtime, and it's like, well, I didn't get this or this or this done. So they do help. They have their stuff, and like I said, they will help cook and stuff, but they just need more help to stay on task. And
how do you help them stay on task? Besides following around behind them, prompting them.
well, we do have a dry erase board that's hung up on one of the cupboards with their list of stuff to do.
Okay.
And they know that when they get home, because they get home a little bit before I do from work, so they'll get home from school and they get their after school snack and they get started on homework. So homework is generally about halfway done, depending on how much they have by the time I get home.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there they go on to do their other stuff.
So how does your chore chart work? I know that, you said that it's listed what needs to be done for each one. how do you keep track of what's been done and what needs still to be done?
We have little check boxes so they can mark them off as they finish them. And then we've been discussing, my husband and I have been kind of discussing a reward system.
Okay.
But with our schedules being so crazy and hectic, and his that switches off between nights and days, and we haven't really had a chance to sit down and figure something out. And when we get to that point, I told him, if we can get a base idea and then bring the kids in with it as well. So, I think it's important they have a say in it.
So like a family meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then maybe they would have some more incentives to do their chores. But that's about as far as we're at right now.
What have you thought about that whole process of incentives? Have you, where are you in that thought process?
Honestly, I think it's a great idea, but I don't have a lot of time to think about that. I've got other things that I feel are more pressing right now, and so that one kind of gets pushed aside. And I do think that they deserve, if they get their stuff done without a bunch of fussing and whining and whatnot, that they should be rewarded and at least get a little something. And we normally will try to do like a, ice cream or whatnot if there's like the leaves. We have lots of trees in our yard and it's craziness. So it was like a 3-day project to get them taken care of, and so we ended up doing something special for that. So
Great.
for big things, then we always end up making sure that they are recognized for a job well done. But for their everyday chores, there's not such a good.
What types of incentives have you considered?
We've kind of talked about doing like a point system where they, have so many points and they can redeem them for a movie night or a friend over or ice cream, or, if they want to do something or that type of thing. But that right now for me is really overwhelming just because that's a lot of figuring out that I don't have time to do, or that's how I feel. And we've thought about like an allowance and then maybe a little bit extra if they do extra chores. We've thought about maybe letting them, like just having a list of the chores and they can choose between the two of them which ones they want to do. Because, my older one likes to scrub toilets and my younger one likes to clean mirrors. So, swapping those up, sometimes we have some issues because then we get whining and complaining, but...
That's great that they have one that they really like to do.
I know, toilets is just a little weird to me.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Hey, if it works
she
for
likes
her.
it, I'll let her do it. But I don't know how well that would work out either, if they would kind of be self-sufficient enough to get everything done without arguing over who was going to do what.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you'd like to bring them in on the decision of what incentives to offer. Like, you'd like their input so that they can maybe, you're like, friends staying over, going to get ice cream, whatever, but maybe one of the kids would have a different thing that they'd like to work towards. Okay.
And I don't want them to think that whatever we decide on is not fair or doesn't work for them, because I think they'll be more apt to do it if it's kind of their idea too.
So have you, while thinking about this, have you taken into account what their main interests are that they would be more likely to work towards?
A little bit, and I've just kind of here and there when we've discussed it, had random thoughts. So I'd really like to be able to sit down and say, okay, this is kind of what we're thinking. What do you guys think? Are there anything else that you want to add to it? That's kind of my main goal for setting them down with us.
How feasible would it be to put it off just another few weeks until you're on break?
Well, I mean, it's been how it has been for a long time, so I don't think it's going to kill anything
Okay.
to wait a little bit longer.
Okay. And how on board are the kids with their chores?
They do really good.
Good.
Like I said, they just need some prompting.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's frustrating when I'm trying to do something and I have to keep on top of them, or they're running to me with questions every 5 seconds.
Yes, that
So.
gets annoying
Yes.
at best. Especially when you're in the middle of writing a paper or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that can get frustrating. What about your husband? I know you said that he will help if you have dinner ready. When he gets there, he will take care of the cleanup process, and he starts laundry. What else does he do to help out around the house?
He does a lot of the yard work,
Mm-hmm.
which is great because I haven't really had time to do much of that since school started. So during the summer it wasn't so bad. I could help out there too. But so he does a lot of the maintenance, yard work, that type of stuff. But as far as other things around the house, that's really about it.
What are your expectations for the family?
As far as
Helping out to help you to get through school. What would you like to see?
I just want things to get done without having complaining and whining and feeling guilty because I didn't get it done,
Mm-hmm.
or feeling like I have to constantly follow somebody around right on their heels and, okay, come on, keep going, don't sit down, you gotta finish,
Uh-huh.
that type of thing. I don't know, I guess mainly just having them understand where I'm at, and that just because I'm home doesn't mean that I'm
There.
there to do the mommy and the
Mhm.
house and the wife and if that's not, I don't come home and just automatically go into that mode.
What does your study space look like?
Well, at one end of my kitchen table, I have my calendar that has all of my reading and my assignments and everything written out on it. So it's there where I can see it, quick glance, because it's on the main floor, and it's just my go-to.
Okay.
This is where my calendar is.
So you've got yourself organized.
Kind of.
Okay.
That part is kind of organized. My calendar, I sat down at the beginning of the semester and wrote everything down. So that part I have. It's right at the end of my table. And then I generally do most of my studying in the main living room on the main floor because there's no TV in there.
Okay.
It's got my fireplace so I can be nice and warm. I generally don't have too many distractions there because if the kids are playing, they're either up in their rooms or in the basement in the main family room with the TV. So, and then if my husband's home, he's out in the garage or outside or down in the basement watching TV. So generally that's kind of my go-to place where I can sit down but then if the kids are there doing homework, they do their homework in the kitchen, which is like it's one big open
Okay.
space. Does that
Okay.
make sense? And so they do their homework at the kitchen table. So then when it's just me at home, because my husband is really good at keeping them, leave your mom alone, she's working on her homework,
Great.
which I have a hard time doing because if they're working on their homework, I feel like if they have a question, I don't want them to be like, well, mom's doing homework, I can't ask. I don't want to shut down the communication,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, I get really frustrated because it's stuff that I know they can do if they would just take the time to do it.
Like read through the problem?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Or like, science. My daughter, she comes home with her science book and they have to answer the questions at the end. Well, I don't know what this question is asking. Well, I don't know where to find that. I'm like, well, did you read the chapter? Well, yeah. Okay, so go back and find where it talks about this. And I do this every time she brings it home. And she goes, well, I don't know where it's at. I can't find it. I'm like, well, I'm going to have to look for it just the same as you would. So you need to work on this. It's going to be something you have to do for the rest of your life. Because I still do it. And she just, so that kind of stuff makes me really frustrated. And then I feel bad because I get really tense and anxious and
Yes.
like my claws want to come out, and I do my best not to get angry with them. But then when I have all my stress and I have stuff that I need to be done that's due and they're mom, then my anxiety just skyrockets through the roof, and I don't like that.
So you'd like them to be a little more self-sufficient?
Yes.
How would you see that happening?
I have no idea.
How does the checklist for, the marking off the boxes for the chores, how does that work? How on top of that are you guys?
We do pretty good with that one. It's mainly got their homework on there, it's got their reading, so their school stuff is on there as well as chores that they need to get done. And they do pretty good with it. So, there might be one or two things that get left from one day to the next before they get done, which as long as it's not something major, I don't get too concerned about it. But they're pretty good at following that, so.
Their study space is at the kitchen table.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where the family eats dinner?
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to think how we could incorporate the checklists with helping the kids be a little more self-sufficient. You said that your daughter, solution focused. Your daughter brings home her book, and she brings the same set of questions to you each time of, I can't find this, I don't know where to look, and your answer is always the same. Did you read the chapter?
Yes.
And so on and so forth. Would having a little checklist of, labeled like before I ask mom, and then have like number 1, did I read the chapter? Number 2, whatever.
Like a little self-help
Yeah.
booklet thing.
Kind of. Just like a little checklist where she would be able to go down it and go, okay, before I go and ask mom,
I need to check this and this.
number
and this.
1, did I read through the chapter? Number 2, did I read the question fully so I understand what it's asking? And number 3, so on and so forth. And then once she gets to the next to the end, and if she were to still not understand, at that point bring it to you. Would that be something that would be feasible for her level?
I think it would. Whether or not she would follow it completely, I'm not sure. Because I feel like almost like it's to get attention more than her really needing help. She just wants mommy time.
I see.
Which
Okay.
I try to be good about giving each of them their, we get our dinners together. I try to help with them with homework for at least the first half an hour, 45 minutes right when I get home.
Okay.
And we have dinner together. Generally, they'll help me cook if they're at home. And then bedtime routine. I will generally read with my older daughter because she struggles with it more.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she finishes, my younger one will just come and sit next to me and read, and she's perfectly content with that. But I don't know, I almost feel like it's more of a, I want mommy time.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't have genuine mommy time to give. Does that make sense?
I do. Yes.
Sense.
I understand. What does your schedule look like? Does it allow for or what kind of allowance does your schedule give for you to be able to just spend X amount of hours with kid number 1, X amount of hours with kid number 2, X amount of hours with hubby, so that way you could keep those close relationships even while you're in school? How does your schedule allow for that?
Well, since I work 5 days a week, I have rearranged my schedule so I get off, generally, I get off at 3.
Okay.
So I'm home by 3:30. And then I've set a boundary for myself to be in bed no later than 11 this
Okay.
semester, which I've done really well with so far. There's only been a few nights, maybe 5 all semester, that I've stayed up past that.
Great.
It's like a hallelujah, because I can't do the whole 2, 3, 4 in the morning finishing my stuff. It kicks my butt.
Yeah, I understand that.
And so I've done really good at that. So I have from 3:30 until 11. And I, like I said, give generally the first half hour 45 minutes. So I'm going to say like 4:30-ish. But then I finish that, and I might have a few minutes that I can start on my stuff before I start dinner. And so then we do dinner, and then we sit down and we eat. And, you know, if my husband isn't home, because if he's working days, he doesn't get home until about 8.
Okay.
Then the kids and I will eat. And then I will go kind of hide in my little area with my nose in my computer or my book or whatnot, while my kids work on chores. And so I don't know what I can do there to kind of keep them more on task, so I don't feel like I'm so torn trying to keep track of them while I'm trying to do my homework. Until we start getting ready for bed is like 7:30-ish, and then we'll bath and get ready in their pajamas by themselves, and then we do reading. So I try to take a little bit of time each day for them, and then if my husband's home, I take time, try to at least give him like 5 minutes when he walks in the door to say, hi, how was your day? Okay, I gotta go back to my studying.
Uninterrupted honey time.
Which is horrible. But then if I get done before 11, and he knows 11 is my bedtime,
Okay.
and he's kind of a night owl, so he'll stay up and watch TV or whatnot. But if I finish up, then, you know, I'll go spend time with him while he's watching TV, or we'll turn the TV off and just visit. So I try to give him that too, but it doesn't always get there because I'm not always finished with everything that I have to be done with.
Yes.
And so that's hard. And then we try to do a date night like once a week or once every 2 weeks. Just me and him, where we can go have dinner or go to a movie or take time out of the house, away from everything, no phones, no interruptions, just time for us.
What do your weekends look like?
Well, since classes start Thursday nights, or Thursdays, I guess, generally, and I work Thursday and Friday, and then I have class Friday night. So if I get stuff done Thursday, then I'm pretty lucky. So generally Saturday I get up, and that's like my homework day.
Okay.
And I hit it, and in between I'll take a break and I'll do a load of laundry, or I'll do dishes, or I'll try to do something else around the house to get my mind off of that and kind of just have a moment,
Okay.
but get stuff done at home as well. And I'll do that most of the day Saturday. So Saturday evenings I try to devote more to either my husband or do a family thing if my kids are home on that weekend. And then Sundays, the last few Sundays have been crazy because we've been doing group projects.
Yes.
But I will finish up other homework, or I will try to catch up on the rest of the housework, and so it just, feels rushed, I guess.
What type of one-on-one time do you have with each of the kids individually?
Generally, it has been focused on homework or reading,
Mm-hmm.
just because that's what's happening at home that needs to get done, and that's what I have time for. But occasionally I'll like take one of them and we'll run to get like Greenleaf or run and get a chocolate milk, or just a quick trip to do something out of the house together.
Just you and her.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, and then we try to plan stuff as a family where we're out of the house and we're not doing chores and we're not concentrating on that, or we can just go have fun. But that doesn't happen as often as I would like either, and it causes me stress when we do plan stuff, because I'm like, I have all this and this and this and this to get done, but I'm out here doing this instead, and so then I have anxiety that not everything is being finished and my time could be better used somewhere else, but I know it's important to have my family time too. So,
how likely are you to let go of school and home while you're out with your family, doing family things?
I do pretty good with it, because I know that if I'm sitting there worried about what I have to do here, that my attention is not with my kids and my husband. It's often where I'm at all the time, and so they don't get my genuine full attention.
Yeah.
So I really try to just let it go, and I try to set a boundary so we have this much time, and when it's done, then I can go back to finishing up what I need to finish up.
How do you set that up?
The time frame, or
Mm-hmm.
Just depending on what we do. Generally, like we planned a trip to the corn maze. I don't know, it was probably like a month or so ago now, but we decided that I would do my homework until a certain time, and then we would leave and we would go grab some dinner and head to the corn maze. And so I think we gave ourselves about 3 hours that night to go and wander through and to make it home and get the kids in bed and whatnot. And then I still had my extra time after that until 11 to work on stuff.
Okay. So, miracle question.
Okay.
If you went to bed tonight as normal, and you woke up tomorrow morning, and overnight a miracle had happened, how would you know that the miracle had happened in the morning? What would tell you that it had occurred? What would be the first thing that you noticed?
I probably wouldn't wake up worried about everything that I needed to get done. Would probably be the first thing that I notice, because normally I wake up and I'm like, oh, here goes another day. I have this and this and this to do, and my mind just goes.
How do you keep track of the things that you need to get done each day?
Between my phone and my calendar.
Okay. So you keep a list.
I try to, yeah. And then if things come up, I'm a note taker. I have to write it down, or I don't remember. So I have sticky notes everywhere, which is probably not the best thing, but when it's right there and I can write it down and then I can get it entered into what I need to do, it works out better. So
Okay. How can you alleviate that worrying about what needs to be done that day?
probably if I had better time management and set aside a specific time for a specific thing, rather than sitting down and saying, okay, I have this and this and this and this to do, and just kind of, I don't even know how to explain that.
So, to clarify, you have your planner,
Mm-hmm.
and in your planner you write down from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. I'll be working on class X, between reading and whatever homework assignment needs to be done in that class on this day. And then from 2 o'clock until 5 o'clock is family time and getting dinner ready and having your little chefs help you out. And then from 5 until 6, you guys are eating and cleaning up after dinner. And then from 6 until 8, you guys are getting ready for bed and for the next day and cleaning. The kids are getting bathed and all that kind of stuff. So actually scheduling it out on paper, is that what that would look like to you?
Yeah, but I feel like even if I do that, that it won't end up getting followed, because when my kids are home, I want them to be my priority, but yet I want to get my stuff done. So it's like I would still allow interruptions if I were doing homework and the kids are home and they need something.
How do the girls read? They're both girls, right? Okay.
Yeah. They generally, I make them both read out loud. My younger one is supposed to read out loud at least for half of her time. My older one just really struggles with reading, and she tends to make up her own words and doesn't read the words that are in the book, so I make her read out loud so she can improve her reading. And so it's something that I kind of have to monitor with her. She'll just go on about her own little story instead of what the book actually says. So, yeah.
How feasible would it be for her to read a story that your younger one knows really well, where she could read it to the younger one as her reading time while you're sitting not necessarily in the same room, but close enough to where they're within ear's reach, but you can still focus on maybe reading for Jessica time?
Well, I don't multitask well like that.
Okay.
For one. But she gets very defensive
okay.
if she's reading, and my younger daughter tries to tell her that she's said a word wrong or that it was a different word. She's like, no, it's not. And then we just have a huge fight. So,
okay. I'm so stuck right now. How many times can you ask the miracle question in one session?
you could go back to the miracle question and say you could use how would the other people know, or how would, I don't remember.
Well, you said that you would know because you wouldn't be so stressed out first thing when you woke up.
Yes.
Worrying about what needed to be done for that day. And you'd like to spend the majority of your time when the kids are there on the kids, right?
Yeah, but I just don't know if that's possible, which I knew going into it, but I still feel bad when they're home and they need help and I'm there. I feel like I can't tell them no.
How demanding are they for your time?
Generally, if I tell them that I'm in the middle of something and I need to finish it, or, you just gotta give me 20 minutes. Don't talk to me. Just find something to do for 20 minutes. They're normally pretty good about it.
Okay.
But then my mind is not completely focused on my homework.
When it comes to the girls doing their chores, do they have time limits on how long it needs to get done? Like, I guess, how can I word this? Do you tell them something along the lines of, you have 20 minutes to clean your room? Or, I need the bathroom cleaned and let's see if you can beat the clock and have it done in 10. Is that something that could work?
I've done that in the past, but it's generally after I've been on them for however long, and then I'm like, okay, we're setting the timer, see how much you can get done in this amount of time on this project. But that's something that I have to put out there first before they're like, okay, then it's like a race.
So, since Halloween just passed, how does their trick-or-treat candy work?
Well, considering they were with their dad for Halloween, and none of it's at my house. Yeah, I have no leverage there.
Well, Halloween candy is on clearance right now.
I do have leftovers from what we didn't hand out, but as it is, they know that they don't have free reign to the goodies in the house. If they're going to snack, then it needs to be something more healthy, which they're pretty good about, so I maybe could bribe them with.
Well, my thought is along that line. If you were to say, these are your chores for today, you know, they get home, you guys all get home, they finish their homework, and you need a few minutes to go over whatever it is that you're going to be working on that day for your homework before dinner gets started, and it's time for the girls to get started on their chores. If you were to walk over to the chore chart together and say, okay, you have 30 minutes, and if you can get this chore and this chore done in that 30 minutes, you get this yummy piece of candy. But it has to be to mom's standards. So that way you throw in, you don't get to half butt it. It has to be done right. But then for that X amount of time, you have your time. Would that be something that could work for your family?
That might motivate them a little bit better.
Okay.
Depending on the day. And the child.
And the candy.
Yes. Exactly. Yes.
As far as your husband helping out, you said he does the yard work and he helps up with cleaning up after dinner. What else in the house are you finding is difficult to keep up on? And how likely would he be to help out?
I don't know if he's kind of like OCD, anal retentive when it comes to, because he's been a bachelor for, 28 years, and then he married a mom and 2 kids who is full-time in school, full-time at work, and so things are not perfect the way that he left them every day when he comes home, I think is his biggest problem. So it's not that the house is a mess and that we can't keep up on it, it's just like little
His
things.
things have been touched?
Like his quirks, like if somebody leaves their shoes on the floor, even if they're not in the middle of the floor, but they're next to the door, but they're not put away, type of things.
Okay.
And I've tried to explain to him, you do it too. I will come down and your slippers will be on the floor, or your shoes will be on the floor, and you'll be gone, so you can't freak out about everybody else's. Well, that's mine, and I'll put them away as soon as I get home, and they can sit there for 4 days if they're yours or they're the kids. And I'm like, okay.
Teaching by example?
So it's not so much stuff that we can't keep up on, it's just like little comments that are made regarding things that make me feel, and maybe I just take them the wrong way too, but that make me feel like I'm not doing my job adequately.
How have you brought that up to him?
I was very blunt about it a few weeks ago actually, and told him that he made me feel like a piece of crap, and I don't think I probably went about it the most appropriate manner, but I got my feelings out there and I made him feel bad because I felt bad, and then I felt bad for making him feel bad, but and he explained to me, I'm not complaining that the house is dirty because I can clean it just as well as you can. I'm just venting to you. You're amazing. You do all this stuff, and I understand that you're busy, but yet I still take the comments, and sometimes they'll even be teasing, and if they would come from anyone but him, I would be fine with them. But just because of everything. He says it and my claws come out and I'm like, I can't do anything right. I'm so busy that I don't have time. And so I've tried to explain to him, you knew what we were getting into, or I tried to explain to you to the best of my knowledge what we were getting into when I started school again.
Yes.
And that I wasn't going to have time to be the housewife and the perfect mom and the everything all the time. But I still feel like it, and maybe I'm just too hard on myself. Maybe I need to work on my thinking towards that.
Letting it go.
Because he tells me all the time, he's like, thank you so much for doing this, and he's always really appreciative when he comes home and stuff has been done, and so it's not so much, I guess it's more how I take it. Maybe I'm just harder on myself than I should be.
Okay. How can that be fixed? Or changed? Adapted? At least for the time being.
I have a really hard time not doing things to how I think they should be done.
Okay.
So it's hard for me to say that I could just let it go, or I can just say that, I do what I can, or because if it's not all done, then I don't feel like I've done it completely, that my project's not finished. And I guess I just really need to recognize when he comes home and he's like, oh my gosh, she left her shoes on the floor again, and the dishes aren't done, and whatever, that it's not directed towards me personally, but I don't know how to change that. I don't know how to fix it.
So, to clarify, it's not so much that he's complaining that the things haven't gotten done, it's just more of a remark of,
An observation.
okay,
Yes.
is it his passive-aggressive way of complaining, or is it genuinely just a, oh, she's on the floor?
I take it more as a passive-aggressive complaint.
But how does he mean it?
And, well, he said it's just him venting. So I'm not sure.
Would it be feasible for you to just tell him to do it himself?
He doesn't feel like if it's not his shoes or it's not his dishes, then he should have to take care of it. Which I had a huge blow-up about the other day because I was like, so I cooked you dinner, but it's not technically your dish, so I still have to clean it up, type of thing. Or, I do everybody's laundry, not just my laundry. I do your laundry too.
Would it be feasible for you to ask him to just, if he sees the girls' shoes lying around, to just call whichever owner it is of those shoes to pick them up and put them away?
I probably could do that. I think part of his problem is that they're generally not home when it happens.
Oh, okay.
And so then it's like, but I wonder if he could make a note on like their little...
On the chore
on
board
their,
saying put
spot.
shoes away? Okay.
Yes.
I don't know if we're supposed to offer our own
I don't know.
stuff that we do, but if we're not, I'm sorry. But I just went to the dollar store and I bought the little miniature little whiteboards, and I'm going to be hanging them on each of the kids' bedroom doors, so that way I can, when they leave for school in the morning, because they leave at 7:53, the bus picks them up just outside of the house, and as soon as they walk out the door, the first thing that they do is check bedrooms to make sure that they've done what they're supposed to do before they leave in the morning. And if they don't, we have a larger family size board where it's really just supposed to be used for what each person is doing that day, schedule wise. Like, one's got basketball and one's got counseling and one's got this and whatever, just so that we can keep track of where each other is at what time. But I'm finding that I'm having to put clean your bedroom, or you didn't make your bed, or whatever on that family board. So instead of taking up the space on the family board, I've bought them each their own little personal one that I'm hanging up on their bedroom doors. So if they've missed something, I can write on their bedroom, on their board on their door, finish your laundry, or clothes need to be folded, or pick up your shoes.
That would probably be really...
So would that be something that might work for him, where he could
make notes?
Her shoes are lying on the floor, and just go to her bedroom door and write, pick up your shoes.
Yeah, if he is not too lazy to walk up the stairs to write pick up your shoes. Because the bedrooms are upstairs.
All of the bedrooms are upstairs? So maybe if he forgets to do it when he goes upstairs for whatever reason, but then you have to go upstairs for something, and you could just say, hey honey, I'm writing that on the board.
Yeah.
How would that work?
We'd probably try it. That would be helpful for their bedrooms, because, their standards versus
yeah. Mom standard and kid standard are way different.
My clean and their clean are two totally opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yes.
So, those little notes right on the door might be very helpful. In addition to the two main ones we've got downstairs. Yeah, that'd probably work really well, actually.
Okay. So what else needs to be addressed? You're
just
feeling guilty?
I don't know how to fix it.
We're looking at 3 months solid of go, 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 go.
Mm-hmm.
Because of school. And that's time that you would normally be spending doing things with the kids. Or
around the house,
okay.
Or for me. I don't really know what me time is anymore. It's really sad.
Reading about CBT.
Yes, exactly.
So, the girls are with you every other weekend, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is it possible for you to finish what you're supposed to do for that week while the girls are gone on that weekend? Do what you're supposed to do for that week, and then maybe bring in maybe one chapter of the reading for the next week into this week and try and get that done. That way you have that extra hour or hour and a half, however long it would have taken you to read that chapter, that you have that extra time to spend with the family. Is that something that could work for you guys? Or how could that work for you guys? How could that work for you?
I think that'd work good if I put it on my schedule, because I am so focused on, I only have this much more, and then I finish that and I'm like, I'm done. So as long as I pay attention to it in that moment before I'm okay, I have a minute to breathe, and then just add that to my stuff, I think that would work.
How likely would you be you finished what is supposed to be done for this week? Take 10, 15 minutes for yourself, go take a shower, enjoy the nice hot water, just
in the morning, and I just stand there. That's about, I feel like that is all the me time I get. That and when I go to the bathroom and I lock the door and I'm like, can I just sit in here for 10 minutes? I don't even have to do anything, I just need to sit here.
Or what about rewarding yourself with a bubble bath? And just take 15 or 20 minutes and just totally relax, and that's your reward for finishing everything that was supposed to get done this week. The girls are gone. the hubby is off whatever he's doing. He's doing his thing. Grab one of your books for next week and start reading that chapter after you're done with your reward. How would that work? To get that done, to get at least one chapter out of the way for next week, so you have that hour or hour and a half or however long that you have extra for kids next week.
I think that would work out really well.
How likely are you to do that if we were to set out the magic ruler? 1, yeah, it sounds good in theory, but it's not going to happen. 5 being, yeah, I think that's workable. Where would you be on that?
I would say, probably thinking about my schedule for this week,
Mm-hmm.
I would maybe do a 3 or a 4.
That's pretty high.
I would be willing to try it and see how it goes.
Okay.
Because if it goes well, then I would definitely work it that way. And if not, then I'd go back to my, this is when I do this, and this is when I do this, and that's how it is.
How long of a trial period do you find yourself, do you think would work to figure out if it's going to work for you or not? Like the rest of the semester, just a week or 2? Because we only have, like 3 or 4 weeks left?
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. Well, today's the 3rd, and I think our last class is the 7th.
Oh!
I know, right? Like a month and a week.
So probably I could do it through the end of the semester. I mean, because I don't think 1 or 2 weeks is going to be that big of a difference.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if I did it through the end of the semester, it might give me a pretty good idea of if it's something that I should pick up right off the bat next semester. I think that would probably work out pretty well.
Okay. So, just to recap. Where are the girls this weekend?
They're with their dad.
Okay.
I'll have to go get them in a little bit.
All right, so they're gone. You have to pick them up in a little bit?
At 6.
Okay. How much do you have left to do for this week?
I have a post that is due tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other ones that reposting on other people's posts that are due on Wednesday, I've got most of those done already.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday I felt like was really productive. It was awesome. And then I've got some reading to do.
What goes along with your reading? Are there any questions or where you have to answer the questions at the end of the chapter, or do you have to write a reflection? Or
Yeah, I do for one class in the reading have, I think there's 3 questions at the end of this chapter, which isn't too bad. And those normally don't take me too horribly long. But really this week has felt pretty kind of just it's flowed really well.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's because I was home all by myself all day yesterday and I got a lot done, or if, I don't know.
Your next week starts on Thursday, right?
Yes.
How likely do you see it being of getting a chapter in for next week before this weekend's?
I think that'd be really easy, actually, with how my week has gone this far.
Great.
Which would be really great because next weekend we're going out of town to take my kids to Disney on Ice.
Nice.
So,
Can I go?
Yes, you can come. I have to have my stuff done because I know once I get in the car, I can have the best of intentions on reading, but I will be out like a light because that's what happens when I get in the car. So that would probably work out really well.
So this week it's kind of a necessity to get stuff for next week done.
Yeah, either that or Saturday I'll be shipping my kids to Grandma's house so I can get my stuff done so we can go on Sunday. Oh, see, and then it stresses me out thinking about all of that.
But if you were to have some of next week's stuff already done before next week gets here.
Oh yeah, that would relieve a lot of that anxiety about having to do everything Saturday.
So you guys are going to be gone just for Sunday?
Just Sunday. We're driving down and back same day.
Okay.
So it'll be kind of a long long drive, but
Mm-hmm.
if I don't have homework I have to be doing, then it'll be super.
And then how likely would it be for Monday or Tuesday to start reading a chapter or so from the next week?
Probably pretty easy because I should have everything finished
You're
Saturday.
already caught up, have a little bit ahead,
Yes.
so,
Should be pretty easy.
and then you can spend some extra time with the girls and the hubby.
Yes.
How do you feel about this?
That feels wonderful.
Does it?
It does.
So thinking forward ahead a week or so, how likely are you to, on that scale,
Of 0 being
0 being
no way possible.
it's not going to happen, to 5 being, oh yeah, I'm on it?
Well, if it works out as smoothly as it looks in my mind, I would say I'll be with a 5 and sticking with it. But
Given that life happens.
yes, then I think I'll stay at a 4 at least through the end of the semester, seeing how it works out.
Okay. And then the little boards on the bedroom doors, how likely are you to do something like that?
I really, really, really like that idea a lot. Because, there's mornings when they're like, oh, my room's clean, I've done all my stuff. And I go up there and I'm like, except for the violin case is in the middle of the floor. Granted, it is closed and the books are in the bag, but it is in the middle of the floor. Or the, stuffed animals that are shoved under the bed instead of placed on top of the bed where they're supposed.
Well, they're not
Yes.
in the middle of the floor at least.
Very true. And, the blanket's pulled down so you can only see part of them. I think a whiteboard on the door would be wonderful, so they can, because they know if mom's standard is not what they're doing, then I'm going to be complaining about it, and they get really grumpy about that. So I think it'd be easier if it was just there, and I wouldn't have that confrontation. It would just be there, and they would just have to do it. If it's on the board, then they have to do it.
So, if it's on the board, and they get it done in a timely manner, a timely manner, would a reward at the end be possible?
Maybe, or maybe a reward if they don't have anything on their board.
Oh.
Because I don't want to reward them for finishing what they didn't finish in the first
Yes.
place.
But if nothing went on the
But
board,
nothing went on the board. Then I
Nice.
think that would be.
I like that, and I think I'm going to steal that.
I like that because if I have to go up and examine their room and find something that they should have done initially,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to reward them for doing it after I told them to do it.
Okay.
I'd rather reward them for just having it done.
Guess what? You didn't have anything on the board today, so you get an extra 5 minutes before bedtime, or whatever will work for your kids.
That is a very good idea.
Nice.
I'm liking it.
Awesome.
Yes, I feel a little better
Good.
for now. We'll see what happens once everything starts rolling.
I want to
think
know
that
how
should
it works out.
Okay,
Please.
I'll let you know.
Cool.
Yes.
All right. So the board, and doing a little extra to have some extra time the next week.
Yes. Yes.
Cool. All right. Anything else I can help you with?
I don't think so.
Okay.